Welcome to KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio and the Southern California Business Report, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them, with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker. And now, here's Daryl and Yvette.
Thank you for joining Southern California Business Report on ABC News and Talks, KMET 1490 AM, 98.1 FM, and KMET TV with Yvette Walker and myself, Daryl McCance. We are live blasting our signal from the center of Southern California, Inland Empire, Orange County, Los Angeles to our west, the Desert Empire, Palm Springs, Palm Desert to our east, the beautiful Temecula Valley all the way to San Diego to our south, the mountain communities, Big Bear, the beautiful, all the wonderful mountain communities, Lake Arrowhead, all the way to State Line to our north. Get us crystal clear, live, worldwide, by going to Google Play or the Apple Store and downloading the free KMET smartphone app today. We focus each week on successful businesses in Southern California and the people behind them, serving a local population of nearly 25 million, from awe-inspiring sole proprietorships to world-renowned organizations in all sectors of our economy. Today's show focuses on the business and secrets of Southern California's education sector, specifically colleges and universities. Before we begin today, a special thank you to our team, Mitch, Bill, Sean at the station, and our amazing advisory group from UC Irvine, Bill Morris, and we use Bill's book, A Formula for Success, or The Formula for Success. As we talk about success, he's our secret. And add to that, Jay Kaplan, catch his show every Friday at 3 p.m. We have Camilla Rubio, Diane Cavallo, and James Carvin. Special thanks to last week's guest, Dr. Mark Hanna from City of Hope. And just want to remind everybody that March is colon cancer month. So get it checked out. It's the third largest group of fatalities come out of colon cancer. So March is the month. So as customary, Yvette Walker will introduce this week's guest. We're really excited. Yvette, the microphone's all yours.
Thank you so much, Daryl. Today I have the distinct honor of introducing someone that I have admired from the first day I met, and that is Dr. Devorah Lieberman. She is the 18th president of the University of La Verne, a nationally ranked and Carnegie-designated private institution for community engagement. The University of La Verne is located in Southern California, founded in 1891, and serves 8,000 students. As president, Dr. Lieberman demonstrates unwavering commitment to the mission and vision of the University of La Verne and constant dedication to the remarkable students the university serves. Dr. Lieberman has broadly published books and articles in higher education literature on the topics of intercultural communication, faculty development, diversity, and institutional transformation. Her presidential vision is supporting the university values, as well as delivering quality academic programs at the undergraduate, master's, and doctoral levels. President Lieberman currently serves as president of the Coalition of Urban and Metropolitan Universities, CUMU, is chair-elect of the New American Colleges and Universities, NACNU, serves on the executive committee for the Association of Independent California Colleges and Universities, AICCU, executive committee, is a member of the National Campus Compact Board of Directors, a member of the American Council on Education, ACE, Commission on Inclusion, a member of the Board of Directors for Casa Colina Centers for Rehabilitation, a board member of La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, and a member of the LA County Fair Association Board. She graduated with her PhD from University of Florida, with her MA from San Diego State, and with her BA from Humboldt State. Oh my goodness, Dr. Lieberman, thank you for making the time to be with us today. You have a very, very full plate and a lot of, students to serve. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
It's my honor, Yvette. Thank you.
Now, Dr. Lieberman, that's quite a resume. Holy moly. And I'm sure glad you did that introduction, Yvette, because I would have struggled with some of that.
Yes.
The beginning, we like to start with the past, the present, and the future. So if you could share with our audience some of your background. We just went over your high points. If there's anything in there you'd like to add, and then also feel free to get the audience a little background on the University of La Verne, and then we're going to dig right into the present, and then we know that you have a vision for where things are going. And so let's just kind of go back a little bit, and if you could just share anything that you'd like to just add to what Yvette just said regarding your background, and then also University of La Verne. Over to you.
Okay, well, let me start by saying, Daryl and Yvette, having me on your show honors me beyond words that I can express, because first of all, you've done great work on this show, and to have me in this lineup with the others you've interviewed, it's an honor for me. So thank you for doing this. Wow, it's tremendous, and I'm honored, and thank you. So I always say that we all have business cards, and our names and our titles are on the front of the business card, but really it's what's on the back of your business card. I think that matters more than anything else, and that's who you are and why you've come and how you've come to the position that you are on the front of the business card. So Devorah Lieberman, president, those are words. The back of my business card, in a nutshell, I grew up in Southern California, right here. I went to Mount Sac. Yay, we love that. I went to Mount Sac. I went to Covina High School. I'm a Covina Colt. I still remember the alma mater, which I'm not going to sing for you, but someday,
next time,
we'll all be singing it. And I went to Mount Sac. It was a excellent undergrad community college for me. I went to Humboldt State, as Yvette said, and I went to San Diego State before going to the University of Florida. So I think if you say, what inspired you to sort of make choices that inspired me to make choices that I made along the way, I think in a nutshell, I grew up in a family that was a traditional Jewish family in Covina. Not too many of us at that time when I was growing up in Covina. But one of the things that my parents said to me constantly, there's a phrase in Hebrew that's pronounced tikkun olam, which stands for heal the world. And my parents would say to me regularly during my most formative years, Devorah, no matter what you choose in life, you can be successful. But much more important than just being successful in a profession is to always follow tikkun olam, which stands for to heal the world or to repair the world. So that became part of my DNA. So everything that I chose through college, the majors that I chose in college, the jobs that I chose to accept were all on my own personal mission of repairing the world or healing the world. So after I graduated from college and I did various professorships at different universities, and I was in New York as a vice president for Wagner College in New York City, I got a call from a search firm that said, we'd like you to look at the University of La Verne. We've been following you, and your values and what you've done are very much aligned with the University of La Verne. And to tell you the truth, because I grew up in a household where my parents said the only option for you are public institutions, I said to the search firm, the University of La Verne, where's that? And they said, Southern California. I'm in New York. And I said, really? Where in Southern California? And they said, about 35 miles east of Los Angeles. And I said, oh my gosh, I grew up 30 miles east of Los Angeles. So I said, let me look at the prospectus. And when I read the prospectus, and it talked about the history of the university, which we'll talk about, and it talked about the values for 130 years, the values that ground this university, I looked at my husband and I said, the values of this university, how we wanted to raise our own two daughters, these values exactly reflect what we've said we want our children, our own children, to have as part of who they are. I said, if this university truly lives these values, then we want to be a part of this. So that's what brought me from my childhood to this vice presidency in New York to the University of La Verne.
And also, I know you're far too humble to bring this up, but I will definitely give you all the accolades in the world for being the first female president of the university in those 130 years, and one that was not a Brethren. So please talk about how that has transformed the office today that you serve.
Well, that's really quite interesting, because sometimes you don't realize that you're breaking a glass ceiling until I guess it's broken. And other people are like, wow, there's shards of glass all around you because the glass ceiling is broken. So I hadn't realized that until I did research that I was the 18th president and the first female president. And the Church of the Brethren in 1891 founded the University of La Verne. It's a Christian denomination, not well known. Why are they not well known? Because the core of this religion, this denomination, the core is humility, do good works for others, and that's your role in life. Care for the earth and care for your fellow human being. That's what the Brethren are grounded in. And that's how they started the University of La Verne. So the 17 presidents prior to me, even though we're no longer affiliated with the Church of the Brethren, the 17 presidents were all men. And when I found out that they were not only men, but they were all Brethren men, I, to be totally honest, I was shocked when they called me on the phone after all the interviews and said, we'd like to, the Board of Trustees unanimously voted on you to be the next president. I was surprised, because I thought, female, that's a pivot they could make. But to go from Brethren to Lieberman, I thought that's a huge pivot. And the Board of Trustees, in their wisdom, I suppose, said this person is the person who has the values that she embodies, the values that the University of La Verne holds, and she brings something to this university to continue to move forward the mission of serving the community, serving the students, and making an enormous impact on our region.
Well, you should be very honored, and I think that it was a bit of genius on their part, because it's you've been there for a decade now, correct? Been there 10 years, and the proof's in the pudding. They got the most qualified person, so you should be very, very honored that you've taken it really to that next level, where they wanted to put the most qualified person in, and they scoured the high and low and side to side, and that's great, because a lot of people will say, here's what we're looking for, then they kind of pivot and do what they want,
Right.
And the fact that they had identified what it is that they wanted and said, hey, we have a match. That's awesome.
Thank you.
And obviously, you're enjoying every minute of it, which makes it very, very fulfilling for the students, for the faculty. You shared, and share with the audience how you introduce yourself with respect to your title. I think that when we talk about the humility and the classy organization, it's classy, that I call University of La Verne. So how do you introduce yourself? Share with the audience. I think that's great with respect to your title.
When you meet people, whether it's in a professional setting or a social setting, and people say, what do you do? I mean, that's the usual banter when you're just getting to know each other. I don't think I've ever introduced myself as saying I'm the president of the University of La Verne, because that's just a title, but it doesn't say anything about who you are. So when I introduce myself, I always say, my name is Devorah Lieberman, and I serve the University of La Verne, and I serve in the capacity of president, but my job is to serve. And I believe that completely. And related to that, Daryl, when you meet a student, people always say, what's your major? Just like, what do you do? And I never say, what's your major? I always say, don't just pick a major, but major in a mission. Mm-hmm. And our job at the University of La Verne is to help you to identify the major so that you can achieve that mission. So my coming to the University of La Verne, I'm majoring in a mission every single day. And the mission of the University of La Verne is to graduate students who serve the community in their professions. And I think if every one of us said, what's my mission? Because we can all be successful, but how are we going to be significant? And if we all majored in a mission, I think the world would be a better place.
I completely agree, Dr. Lieberman. And so it's so interesting when you juxtapose that humility and that heart of service alongside your countless, sterling accomplishments. And the latest and most undeniable feat that I can come up with at this time is your fundraising efforts. 2020, in the midst of a pandemic, please share with our audience what you and the University of La Verne family were able to accomplish.
Well, several years ago, when we said we have a lot to do at the University of La Verne in the ways of programming, raising money for scholarships, particular buildings, we said, how do we do that? Well, we need to have a comprehensive campaign, not a capital campaign. That's just for buildings. We said a comprehensive campaign. So we hired a company to do a feasibility study to say how much, in what areas could we raise money, and how much could we raise. And the University of La Verne had never been an enormous fundraising machine, because it comes back to that humility, and you don't necessarily ask for dollars, you do your good works. And I knew that we had to start asking for dollars. So we hired this company, and the company came in and said, well, we interviewed 75 people, and we think you could raise $125 million, which for us seemed like Mount Everest. It was this enormous peak that had never been achieved before. So the board said, okay, Devorah, go for it. Can you do this? And I remember so vividly sitting with the board, and they said, can you do this? And I said, I hope so. And the board said to me, hope is not a strategy. Just do it. So this was several years ago, and we put together everything that we were going to raise money for, predominantly scholarships, because our students are moderate, most of our students are moderate and low income. And for them to attend the University of La Verne, we need to provide as much scholarship money as possible to defray the costs so that they can afford and not graduate with debt. So we embarked on this $125 million campaign, and it was a 7-year campaign, I think, and was supposed to end a year from now. So here we are, $125 million campaign, and Yvette, we I'm so proud of our donors and everybody who stepped up, because we not only raised $125 million, we raised it pre-pandemic and during the pandemic, which is not something that's happening across the country. And the other thing that I'm so proud of is we didn't have all these $50 million gifts, $20 million gifts. We had 42,000 individual gifts that raised that 128 million. We came in at 128 instead of 125. So we were $3 million over. Not almost 10,000 donors from those 42,000 gifts, almost 10,000 donors. It was the first time they ever gave to the University of La Verne. So what I'm most proud of is that 42,000 gifts came in, 10,000 new donors, and of that 128 million, almost 48 million is dedicated directly to student scholarships, and 51 million is dedicated to our academic programs, so that we have quality academic programs, and we truly are an accessible institution for any student who's qualified to go and complete the coursework. So I am so proud of that. And the last gift that came in from that 128 is a gift from a local wonderful man named Frank Lizarraga, who endowed the College of Law dean, the first endowed dean. And the first gift that came in, the first major gift that came in, was from Tony LaFetra, who was the CEO for Rainbird Corporation, who passed away within about a month ago. So we are still grieving that Tony passed away. But the short story, when I was talking to him about the University of La Verne and the campaign, he grew up in Glendora, and he went to Stanford, very, very successful CEO of Rainbird. But the story he told me, he said, when I was a young boy in Glendora, and I was going to the public schools, kindergarten through 12th grade, almost all of my teachers were graduates from the University of La Verne, and they taught me to love education, to love learning, and to have confidence in myself. So at dinner that night, he wrote a check for $10 million to go to the College of Education. And he said, I want every student who graduates who's going to be a teacher, I want them to have the same values and love of learning that my teachers had when I was a young boy. So that's just an example of the impact that the University of La Verne has on everybody in our region.
For those that just tuned in, we are here with Dr. Devorah Lieberman. She's serving as the president of University of La Verne. They are so fortunate to have you there, Dr. Lieberman. And next time you meet with your board of directors and they tell you that hope is not a strategy, let them know that Yvette Walker and I disagree. Okay, you have to have hope, and that hope turned into one $10 million check and 42,000 individual checks, and that is well deserved, incredibly impressive. That's a wow. And for those that are listening, this is I think University of La Verne is a secret. Nestled away along the foothills in Los Angeles County, centrally located. 57 freeway, the 210 freeway, the 10 freeway, the 71 expressway. If you're in Orange County, you're in LA County, you're in San Bernardino County, you're in Riverside County, all set. And we'll be going to break here in a little bit, but when we get back, we talked about all the campuses that the University of La Verne has, all the majors that they have. And at the end of the day, there's a financial impact. And you shared with Yvette Walker and I some things I think are going to really shock people when it comes to the affordability. Obviously you run a you and your team run a very, very well-run operation there for you to be able to make it as affordable and in many cases more affordable than it's shocking. I don't want to take the thunder away, but when you share with the audience here shortly what the very small amount or no debt that these students are leaving University of La Verne so they can go out and make a living and enjoy their careers is amazing. So how much time do we have? We got just a little bit before we go to break. Okay, yeah, we're going to be leaving here in just a second. So when we come back, we're going to ask that you go ahead and let's start looking out towards the future here. And you have what they call the 2025 vision. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how University of La Verne is integrated and what people should really know and think about when they're looking at the community colleges, the CSUs, the UCs. You've also got a secret that you're going to share with our audience regarding an opportunity that you've taken advantage of with the Lewis companies, and you've been working with Randall Lewis, and hopefully we can get into that. And don't let us forget to talk about the College of Law, because that's a big deal. You know, that's out there in Ontario, right next to the City Hall, the Ontario International Airport, the new convention center, and we can go on and on and on. So the fact that University of La Verne, that's in LA County, is got this amazing operation in San Bernardino County. You know, just one more example of how you guys are partnering, and this whole Southern California is your focus, and you guys are local, and you're really focused on the students and the population here, and we couldn't be more thankful. So we will be right back. Yvette Walker and I look forward to asking you those questions as soon as we get back.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
Join Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker each Tuesday at 4 p.m. on ABC News Radio, KMET, and Internet KMET TV for the Southern California Business Report. The show highlights successful businesses and individuals behind them. Daryl and Yvette interview the incredible people managing these enterprises that range from awe-inspiring sole proprietors to world-renowned organizations. The Southern California Business Report, Tuesdays at 4 p.m. on KMET AM, FM, and Internet KMET TV.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
You're listening to the Southern California Business Report on KMET Radio, 1490 AM, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, Redlands, and Palm Springs. ABC News Radio.
Welcome back to the Southern California Business Report. We are here with University of La Verne's Dr. Devorah Lieberman, and that's tricky that your parents put a V in there. It sounds like Deborah, but it's Devorah, okay? And she is serving as president and has been there for the last decade, the 18th president of University of La Verne. We couldn't be more proud to have Dr. Lieberman on today. And before we get into some of the details, there was an exciting little announcement. And Yvette, you want to key off with that?
Absolutely. Well, it's very clear to see that you and your team are not only meeting but exceeding the needs of the region. And with that said, it has not been unnoticed. In fact, World News Report recently put out some information about some very important rankings of the university on a national scale. Would you care to expand on that, Dr. Lieberman?
Yeah, I would like to stand on the mountaintop and shout some of these wonderful accolades. U.S. News and World Report, traditionally, when your child is going to college or you're going to college, you take U.S. News and World Report and you look at the rankings of the institutions where you're looking to attend. And those are all good. There's nothing disparaging about the top 25 liberal arts schools and the top research schools, all very good. And I can talk about where we fall in all of those rankings, which I'm very proud. However, what I'm most proud, because it speaks to the core of who we are as an institution and the students that we serve, is this last year they have a new category, and it's called social mobility. And what is that category looking to do? It's not just looking to rank institutions for how large their endowment is. Nothing wrong with that. It's looking to say, what are students entering an institution, what's their family income, the percentage of students who graduate, and then based on that algorithm, how well are they doing professionally, economically, and contributing back into their region in one way or another, predominantly economically, career development. Because as a parent, you want your child, you're investing your dollars in their education, and you want your child or your spouse, the person who's attending the university, to graduate and go on and be an asset in the community, economically and socially and professionally. So this new category called social mobility looks at all of that, and they look at every school in the entire country. And I know this was a long wind up to the bottom line, but the bottom line is that in this category this last year, the University of La Verne, and I want to get it right because I'm looking at U.S. News right now, the U.S. News and World Report in the entire country, the University of La Verne was ranked 5th in the country for upward socially mobility, and number 1 in the country for private institutions. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the mission of the university, let me just repeat that in case anybody there was a lot of traffic as we're driving by. U.S. News and World Report for social mobility, the University of La Verne was ranked 5th in the country and number 1 for private institutions. Because our mission is to serve the students who are interested in our values, the majors, and the careers that we prepare the students to enter. Not every student, half of our students are, over half, 60%, I think, are first generation, the first in their families to go to college, not necessarily knowing that college was even an option for them or that they could afford to go to college. So for them to come to the university, to graduate, and to go on and be so socially mobile, our students, moderate and low income, we give $55 million this year in scholarship aid so that the students can afford to go to the University of La Verne and graduate with very little debt. So for them to go on and be so socially mobile, and most of our students come from this region and go back into the region. So for me, what the University of La Verne does and what's recognized by U.S. News and World Report is that we are investing in our students, because that means we're investing in our region. And this region, as Daryl talked about at the beginning, 25 million people, needs the institutions who invest in their students, ergo, they invest in their region. And that's why that U.S. News and World Report ranking means so very much to me and to us.
That's just too much. That is just as we talked before, to me, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. These are big investments of money, time. It just makes me so proud to have University of La Verne here when you are focused on making sure the return on that investment is real.
Right.
It's real. And we'll talk more about your vision and where the University of La Verne is headed, which is just going to, I think, improve even more, where you're just going to get better and better and better. So I feel sorry for the competition, as the old saying goes. Okay.
I'd like to believe that.
Yeah.
The other thing, Daryl, related to that, which I'm loud and so proud, is that the University of La Verne is federally designated as an Hispanic Serving Institution, an HSI, and that means, and it's just a number, it's just a percentage. That means that at least 25% of your students are from a Hispanic, Latinx, Latino background. And for us, over 50% of our students are Latino, mostly from this region. And I stand up loud and so proud because for us to attract students from this region of this caliber, from this ethnic background, almost 10% African American, I think 8% Asian American and Pacific Islander. So for us to have over 70% of our students, literally as students of color, students from underrepresented populations, coming to the university and being part of that social mobility into the region, and to not just be a HSI because of a designation, a federal designation, but to say we're an HSI because we're so proud of the students that are coming to the university and going back to the region. That captures our mission.
Yeah, and you shared with Yvette and I that the university does not receive tax dollars directly. And if you want to kind of talk about that a little bit, and then approximately what the graduates have in terms of annual costs, because I think that's going to be shocking to listeners. If I could put this on every billboard, except we couldn't afford every billboard. But if somebody would donate every billboard, I would put this on every billboard. And that is, we have between 7,000 and 8,000 students that attend the University of La Verne. And there's three categories, or there's several categories. There's the public institutions, the community colleges, the CSUs, the UCs, all very good. I'm a product of those institutions. There's the for-profit institution, which is a for-profit institution where the dollars from the tuition don't get necessarily reinvested into the institution. They go to the owners and the shareholders of that institution. But we are part of an 85-member consortium of all not-for-profit institutions. And the not-for-profit institutions are the University of La Verne, Whittier, Stanford, USC, etc. So we are a not-for-profit institution. Every dollar that we bring in gets reinvested into the university and our students. We get zero taxpayer dollars. So all of us who pay taxes, those that get sort of reinvested from the legislature, those dollars go to the community colleges, the CSUs, and the UCs, not to the not-for-profits. So our income primarily comes from tuition from our students and retention with our students. So that's our income. And that's why that campaign was so very important, because it supplements what it is that we need. So based on all of that, our sticker price, meaning if you were to just pay
our total cost, it's over $40,000. It's $42,000. However, that is, as we all know, that is a lot of money. So what do our students pay? We have undergraduate students, master's students, and doctoral students. For the undergraduate student at $42,000, our students that qualify for federal funding, it's called Pell Grant, that goes to the student to help defray some of the tuition dollars, and California, the Cal Grant funding. So it's really interesting. At the end of the day, our students pay, on average, less than $7,000 a year. They can graduate in 4 years, where at other institutions that are impacted, you cannot. It's so difficult to graduate as an undergraduate in 4 years. So imagine coming to the University of La Verne, paying less than $7,000 a year, out of pocket less than $30,000 a year for your entire education. That's less than a new car. I'm just doing a comparison. And for us to give $55 million from our base budget to students for scholarships so that they don't have to pay more than, as it was on average, $7,000. So the other piece that I think is really important is thinking about the state of California and the cost to the state of California. So our Cal Grant, the grant money that goes to our students that are below a certain economic level for their family income, our Cal Grant is about $9,000 that goes to our students. Those Cal Grants, you cannot get Cal Grants after 4 years. So you've got to graduate in 4 years to continue to get that $9,000 a year. And I know this sounds like a complicated formula. However, for the publics, the UCs and the CSUs, the Cal Grants for UC students, the University of California students, those Cal Grants are $12,000 of taxpayer dollars per student at the UCs. At La Verne, it's $9,000. And think about this like a taxpayer, that at La Verne, the California Cal Grants only support those students for 4 years. At the UCs and the CSUs, they continue long after 4 years. If you can't finish, you can continue getting that $12,000 year over year to supplement as a scholarship. So the investment from the taxpayers into the Cal Grants that come to a private institution like La Verne is much less than for the UCs and the CSUs, because those students continue on. The Cal Grants continue to support them at the UCs and the CSUs. And for the privates like La Verne, after 4 years, the state has invested 4 times 9, $36,000 in that student. 4 years, they graduate, they have a job, social mobility, and they're contributing to the economy. So that was a long, complicated answer, but the bottom line is private institutions save the taxpayer dollars money on the scholarships because they end after 4 years, and they're less than what goes to the public institutions. I'm proud of that. The other thing that I want to mention is, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, Daryl and Yvette, a prior governor put together a roundtable, an education roundtable, and they said in 2020 and 2030, we have to, as a state of California, we have to have an additional 1 million graduates that are going to be needed in the industries of the future. 1 million additional graduates for our future success of the state of California. And they said in that report, to meet that $1 million mark, we have to have 4 legs to the stool. You have to have the community colleges. You have to have the CSUs. You have to have the UCs. And you have to have the private institutions. All 4 have to work together to produce the 1 million graduates. So for me, I'm very proud that the privates are part of this future of the state of California. And just The data that I think support this is that 20% of all undergraduate degrees across those four legs of that stool are awarded by private institutions, 20% of all undergraduate degrees, and 56% of all graduate degrees. Teachers who've got their masters, psychologists, MBAs, doctorates in education, all the graduate degrees awarded in the state of California, 56% are by private institutions. So that fourth leg of that stool, that's critical. The private institutions, all four legs are critical. If one leg is not there, we're not going to meet the needs of the future of the state of California.
For those that just tuned in, we are here with Dr. Devorah Lieberman. She serves as the president of the University of La Verne. She's very proud to make sure we stay that way. And we're lucky to have her, and we're lucky to have University of La Verne right here in the center of Southern California, convenient for everybody. And now, let's get into your 2025 vision. Let's share that with the audience so we don't, if we run out of time without having that, we're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah,
so share with us your thoughts on the 2025 vision.
So very quickly, the 2025 vision is based on, I always say, we need to be wearing bifocals all the time. And as I said to you before, some of our students don't know what bifocals are, but the three of us do. So when you wear your bifocals, what do we need to do right now to be successful and sustainable long term? But if we don't look out at the future, what do we need to do for the future? We're not going to be able to fulfill the mission of the University of La Verne, and we won't be able to thrive. So the 2025 vision was focused on what do we need to do, and where do we need to be in 2025 and well beyond, so that we survive for the next 130 years. So we had transformative initiatives, something called bridge initiatives, and incremental initiatives threaded throughout. And if anybody's interested, if you go on the website, you'll see a very in-depth 2025 vision all laid out. One of the things I'm most excited about in the 2025 vision is that we are right now creating a brand new college. We have a College of Education, the La Verne College of Education, the College of Business and Public Management, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the College of Law. We are in the 2025 vision, we're creating a fifth college, which is the College of Health and Community Well-Being. Why are we creating a College of Health and Community Well-Being? Because it's very simple. We did all this research and we said, what are going to be the most needed professions into the future, especially post-pandemic? And they said, all the studies showed health professions and professions that add to community well-being. So we have a physician assistant program, phase 1. What are the programs we currently have? Physician assistant, doctorate in psychology, master's in family therapy, health services management, gerontology, public health. Those are all going to be the foundation of this new college. And then in 2 years, we're going to be opening, hopefully, a School of Nursing within this College of Health, because nursing and clinical lab sciences, hopefully. So as you can see, this new college is what I call the brain remain. It's attracting individuals from this region. They are assets in our region. They're upskilled. They have a profession to go back to our region, and they will be the health professionals for community well-being long, long into the future. That's the University of La Verne. That's our region.
Well, we have a region that's growing like crazy. We Yvette Walker and I, we talked. We have the third largest population of millennials. We have this enormous. They just built a 20 million square foot one single building to connect to the Ontario International Airport. Every company you can think of is coming into the region, and boy, do we need the University of La Verne. So it's so exciting that you have that vision that's just plugging right in. And you're not allowed to go back to New York, by the way.
No.
Okay? We already talked about that. Okay, so don't get any
my
ideas.
husband actually said, who's from the East Coast, California. And then about 18 seconds after we moved here, he said, "We're never leaving."
Exactly. Yep. No, we're very, very, we're all very blessed to be here in Southern California, in our region. Lots of exciting things happening.
Right. And I just want to mention one last thing about the 2025 vision, which is sort of late breaking news, like right now, is one of our bridge initiatives is being funded and supported by the brilliant, generous, wonderful, saintly Randall Lewis, who many of us know. And he created 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, just pre-pandemic, the Randall Lewis Center for Wellbeing and Research on the campus. Everything in that center is about supporting the community, faculty, staff, and students in well-being. And he's just now funding a brand new center, which will be opening in September, called the Randall Lewis Center for Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Social Impact. It will be located in Ontario, so it can serve the entire region on how to be more entrepreneurial, innovative, all with the underpinning of having social impact. We're so proud of that, and we're so excited, and we're so grateful to Randall Lewis.
Absolutely.
Well, the next time you talk to Randall Lewis, let him know that Yvette Walker and Daryl McCance join with everybody in saying thank you, because I think that is that's big. That's big news, and that's a wow. So when you're on in the future, because you're not going anywhere, once we got you, we're going to have you come back, and we need to really keep everybody, because University of La Verne, and now you've educated Yvette and I on the background. It's a very humble, just a wonderful organization, and it's great to pull you in here and force you to brag about it, because that's kind of counterculture. Everybody there is they don't, the old saying, walk the walk, don't talk the talk, and they walk the walk. So we're about to sign off. Yvette, if you'd like to share how people can get this on demand if they weren't lucky enough to hear it live.
Absolutely. So don't forget to look for us on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Check us out on scbrtalk.com. And don't forget to download the free live streaming app on Google Play or the Apple App Store. And don't forget, friends, March is Colon Cancer Awareness Month. Check out our YouTube channel and download our interview with Dr. Mark Hanna, colorectal surgeon at City of Hope, highlighting March as Colon Cancer Awareness Month and the various screening opportunities to prevent it. Next week, we will have Dr. James Hammond, Superintendent of Ontario Montclair School District, who oversees a 26-mile area with more than 21,000 pre-K through 8 students, 26 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, and 2 alternative programs. Don't miss it, friends.
Thank you.
This has been the Southern California Business Report with Daryl McCance and Yvette Walker on KMET 1490 AM ABC News Radio, a show dedicated to highlighting successful Southern California businesses and the people behind them. Log on to the show's website and remember to visit the podcast page.